Good evening. My name is Peter Basserman. I'm chairman of Branford's Inland Wetland Commission. I'll now open the regularly scheduled meeting of the commission. Today is August 27th, 2026. It's now 7 o'clock. This evening's meeting will be conducted as a virtual meeting using the Zoom software conferencing platform. It's being held in accordance with Connecticut Public Act 22-3 and the Inland Wetland and Water Courses regulations for the town of Branford. Documents referenced during the meeting are available on the town's OpenGov portal and the agency's webpage. The final agenda for tonight's meeting was filed on August 25th and is posted on that website. Links to the material we're going to talk about tonight are included in the agenda. Branford Community Television, I see, is recording and will be broadcasting tonight's meeting. As a reminder for those speaking at these evening's proceeding, please be conscious of positioning your camera so that the face is visible on the recording to ensure an accurate and complete record. Each time a statement or comment is made during the meeting, the speaking party must announce his or her name before the articulation of that comment. This applies to any party wishing to participate. You can use the raise your hand feature to indicate a desire to speak. And please consider muting the microphone if you are not speaking. This commission has the responsibility and authority to apply the Connecticut statutes and Branford's Inland Wetlands and Water Courses regulations to matters it considers. This commission's role is limited to the protection, preservation, and regulation of inland wetlands and water courses, and any land use activities that would likely have a significantly adverse impact on them. Commission cannot consider matters outside of those areas defined in our regulations, and no discussion on extraneous issues will be discussed. Commission seeks to apply the regulations consistently and uniformly in its considerations. Tonight is a noticed regularly scheduled meeting of the commission. It is a meeting where the commission reviews only the matters on its published agenda. We'll now take a roll call of the commissions on this evening's call. Please indicate your presence when I call your name. Commissioner Goklowski.
Commissioner Goklowski, present.
Commissioner Wall.
Commissioner Wall, present.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Commissioner Armstrong, present.
Commissioner Boda.
Commissioner Boda, present.
Commissioner Sotomayor.
Commissioner Sotomayor, present.
Commissioner Mirsky.
Commissioner Mirsky, present.
And Commissioner Begeman.
Commissioner Begman, present.
I think I've got everyone now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need, I think, Commissioner Mirsky, you were the last to join. Correct me on that, Jamie. Do we do this in attendance order?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. Usually regular members are seated and then we do it in attendance order with alternates. So I believe Howard and Wall are the alternates currently.
Okay, I'm going to ask Commissioner Wall when we come to votes, not to vote this evening, certainly participate. But Commissioner Armstrong was here a little bit longer than you, so I'm going to give him the nod at this point. Okay, we certainly have a quorum this evening. And now the Inland Wetland staff, Director of Planning, Conservation and Development, Commissioner Frederick.
Jamie Frederick, present.
Environmental Associate Sandberg.
Olivia Sandberg, present.
And Enforcement Officer, Zoning and Wetland, Gwinnell. Are you muted? We can't hear you, Heather. Is it only me or?
No, it might just be.
Okay. You're good. You're good. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I'm
Um,
present.
Yep, got it. Is there any commissioner seated this evening which were not in attendance for an agenda item that we're going to discuss tonight? And were you able to listen to the material presented on that item so that you could participate tonight?
This is Commissioner Begemon, and I was absent at the last meeting. And I have reviewed the recording and the minutes and can participate fully.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay,
Anybody else?
Commissioner Armstrong, yes, I also was not present for the August 13 meeting, and I have not reviewed the minutes, so I will not participate on the approval.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Sotomayor. I was not present at the last meeting, but I did review the documents and watch the video as well, so I can sit for those items.
Great. That helps the record.
This
Is there any commissioner?
Sorry, Commissioner Basserman. I also was not present for the last meeting. I just wanted to put on the record that I reviewed the minutes and the other materials from the last meeting, and I'm prepared to participate. Thank you.
Any commissioner that needs to recuse themselves from any of the agenda items this evening? Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda, staff, that we need to consider this evening?
Jamie Frederick and Wetland Agent. I just want to point out that item 6A, 16 East Industrial Road, IW 2627 has been withdrawn, so there'll be no discussion for that item. And that 6B, IW 2628 71 Hilltop has requested a continuance to the September 10th meeting.
Okay. We have minutes for approval. First up, the July 23rd, 26th regular meeting minutes, which were revised, and that is in the package this evening. Now that they've been revised, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
This is Commissioner Begemon. I'll make a motion to approve the regularly scheduled meeting, July 23rd, 26th.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Given the fact that we have 3 minutes to approve this evening, let's do a non-roll call vote. Does anybody not approve the minutes of July 23rd, 26th? Okay, August 10, 2026 special meeting, the site walk minutes. Short and sweet.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. Pierre, can you just also ask about recusals on the minutes?
Oh, I thought I covered that earlier. No? Okay. Anybody need to recuse? I know that some commissioners already indicated that. Any commissioner need to recuse themselves for any of the minutes that we're looking to approve this evening?
This is Commissioner Boda. I would abstain just from those minutes, the 23rd, and then I'll wait for the next vote because I wasn't present.
Okay.
This is
August
Commissioner
10,
Armstrong.
2000.
I was not on the site walk, so I can't recuse myself from those minutes.
Now, given those recusals, we still have enough to
Those are
vote.
abstentions.
Abstain.
Abstain. Those are abstentions.
Abstentions, okay. To the extent that we still have a quorum for the minutes, is there a motion to approve those minutes? They were short and sweet.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I did show up late for 23-33 School Ground Road, but I had a chance to walk the property before we moved on to 40 Midwood. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as stated for Monday, August 10th, 2026.
I was also present, so I'll second the minutes of August 10th, 2026. Does anybody not approve that we're present for those the minutes? Okay. Last up, August 13th, 2026, regular meeting minutes. Anybody need to abstain from those minutes?
This is Commissioner Begemon. I wasn't present, so I'll abstain.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Armstrong. I also was not present, so I'll abstain.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the August 13th minutes?
This is Commissioner Boda. I'll make a motion to approve the August 13th minutes. Wait, yeah.
Commissioner Goklowski, I'll second that motion.
Olivia Sandberg, Environmental Associate. I did see there was an error with those minutes. Can I just pull them up really quick?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Wait. Sorry about that. So for item 6B1, with Commissioner Boda's motion, so Commissioner Boda motion that we uphold and modify the cease and correct order, that we are going to uphold and modify the order to approve the plan prepared by Michelle Ford, dated July 31st, 2026, with the following understandings and modification: that the plants occur in the fall, if we could change that to plantings, and then plantings occur in the fall of 2026, the tree in the wetlands, if we can change that to trees. And then at the end of the motion, I accidentally left out that Commissioner Goklowski seconded and that the motion passed unanimously. So that's not included, but it should be included.
This is Commissioner Boda. I will withdraw my earlier motion, and I will make a new motion that we approve the August 13th, 2026 regular meeting minutes with the 3 amendments staff Sandberg just enumerated on item 6BI, correcting plants to plantings, and the other tree to trees, and then the last one.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I'll withdraw my first second and I'll second my second.
Any further discussion? For those that were in attendance and have not abstained, does anybody not approve the August 13th, 2026 regular meeting minutes as revised? Okay. Moving into the agenda, a little different twist. We have other business first. Inland Wetland 240501, 1201 West Main Street. Construct proposed 1850 square feet drive-through oil change facility, including parking and storm drainage system, with a request to modify the permit. Is this Jamie or Olivia?
Jamie Frederick in the Wetland Agent. So this is a modification of a permit issued in 2024. We do have the engineering firm present to present the modifications. Essentially, they're looking to revise their site plans to go from 3 service bays down to 2. So it is an overall reduction in the scope of the project.
And who do we have for the applicant here?
Mr. Chairman, Matt Bruton, professional engineer in the state of Connecticut from BL Companies, 355 Research Parkway in Meriden, Connecticut. I'll respect your time tonight and give you just a quick recap, and then I'll pass it on to my colleague, Aaron Schumacher, who can share the plan and walk you through the changes. As Jamie said, about 2024 or more, we came here with the Take 5 project. There are no wetlands on the property, but there is an upland review area that clips the corner of the parcel. We ultimately did receive approval from this board for this. We did go on to receive P&Z approval for the project as well. As the applicant was moving towards construction and got a contractor on board, through that collaboration process of understanding the plans and pulling a bid together, we were able to identify some value engineering opportunities that also reduced impact, as Jamie mentioned. So everything you're going to see from Aaron is shrinking. Smaller building, smaller parking, smaller retaining walls. So with that said, I hope, we can answer any questions as you see fit. But I will pass the baton to my colleague, Aaron, who can bring up the plans and walk you through what was done before and what we are proposing to modify to now.
Thank you, Matt. For the record, my name is Aaron Schumacher, also with BL Companies and a professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you, I'll just share my screen to share some materials this evening.
That'd be helpful. Thank you.
So just a quick kind of overview of where we are. This is the site over here, 1201 West Main Street. It's basically directly across from Commercial Parkway, Starbucks, and the Chipotle restaurant. So that's the site that we'll be discussing. This is the survey of the property. The wetlands that Matt mentioned is located to the south of the property over here, and it's this back corner that's subject to the upland review area. We kind of prepared this overlay of the old plan and the new plan. What you're seeing here kind of in black and white is our current proposed site plan. What you're seeing in red is the previously approved site plan. And this magenta line is the upland review area coming from that off-site wetland that's located up here to the south. So as Matt and Jamie alluded to, the main change here is we had a 1,735 square foot building. We've removed a bay from that, and we reduced the building to 1,335 square feet. Along with that, we've reduced the parking and impervious on site and reduced the stormwater drainage system as well. So you can see we've pulled back kind of the limits of paving in the rear of the property. This is the old limit, the old dumpster area. You can see where everything shifted over, approximately the width of one parking space closer to the interior of the site. Most of the kind of street side of the site has remained the same. As far as our kind of coverages within the upland review area, we have approximately 4,000 square feet of area. Our disturbance previously was 2,000 square feet. We reduced that by about 800 square feet to 1,200 square feet. Of that, the impervious or the permanent disturbance that's going to remain is 1,163 square feet, which is a reduction of about 780 square feet from the previous approval. Just kind of a quick recap on what the site is. You have the entrance here. It's going to be a drive-through oil change facility, basically. So the customers come in, loop around the back of the building, come through the building, get their oil change, and leave out the front. The parking on site is mostly just for employees.
You're muting.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, thank you.
So the customers will mostly remain in their vehicles, just kind of pass through as they're getting their oil change. The parking on site will be used for the employees and the staff. I have another graphic here that kind of shows the extent of the storm drainage and grading. So same thing as the last graphic. The red is kind of the old proposed. The black and white colors that you're seeing are the current proposed. So previously there was two proposed underground infiltration systems, one to the rear of the property and one in the front of the property. When we revised the plans, we revised the stormwater calculations, and we reduced that to just one system in the front of the property and removed the system in the rear of the property. We're still meeting all the standards of the Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual as far as reducing peak rates for all the storms and reducing total volume as well for all the storms. And we're meeting the water quality volume by infiltrating on site. We have the use of an isolator row within our underground chambers and a hydrodynamic separator on site as well to help with the water quality volume. We did receive some comments this week from the town engineer. a few of them pertaining to sewer. So we'll definitely work through those with him and the WPCA and getting permission to access the sewers for this site. He also had a comment about the stormwater report. The conveyance table was provided incorrectly, so our calculations table that shows the capacity of the pipes, we had inadvertently provided two tables in the report. One was for the old system and one is for the current system. But we did go through that this afternoon and confirm that all the pipes will meet capacity, and we are using the correct Manning's N values that he mentions in his comments, if you guys were aware of those. So we
Commissioner Basserman, was that related to his last comment about the conveyance table?
Yes, yeah. So his last comment regarding the conveyance table, we had provided two tables in our report, one for the old system, which should have been removed, and then one for the new system. So if you look further down the report, there's a second table that shows that the current system does work.
Thank you.
This
And,
is-
and this is Commissioner Basserman again. Does the slope does the slope go toward Main Street? Is it the high ground is in the rear of the property?
Yes, yeah. Generally, the high ground is in the rear of the property, and it slopes towards Main Street. We do have our stormwater analysis has two discharge points, one to the rear of the property and one towards Main Street.
This is Commissioner Boda. How is the water that is leaving to the rear of the property being treated?
So the water that's leaving to the rear of the property is just coming from grassed area. All of our impervious surfaces and come to the front of the property. So there's very, very little water leaving to the rear of the property in our proposed design.
This is Commissioner Boda. So those paved parking areas are all draining toward the infiltrator?
Yes, yeah. So I can show you, let me show you on our proposed plans. So this is the plan set that we submitted to you guys as the revised plans. Where's the... So this parking area here is all coming to the front of the site. So this parking area here is all discharging to this catch basin, which comes around through the isolator row, through the underground, out through the hydrodynamic separator, and then out to the front of the site. So the only area, if we look at the grading plan, the only area that's still discharging to our rear discharge point is just this grass slope here below this retaining wall, basically, off the edge of the parking lot. If that answers your question.
This is Commissioner Boda. It does. Is it curbed on that back end, the eastern side, I suppose?
This piece here would be curved, yes.
And what is that box structure? It looks like TP1.
This box structure here is our dumpster enclosure for the site.
And the wetland is, well, so the line is back there. So
yeah, so
is there
this
anything
line,
that is preventing materials from the dumpster from moving back downhill? You know, things get blown out and whatnot, and they tend to find their way to wetlands pretty readily.
so we are proposing that our dumpster would be in a fenced dumpster enclosure. That would definitely help maintain kind of keeping the trash in the trash area. And then this is the 100-foot upland review area here, this green line that you're looking at. So it is some distance to get to the wetlands from the dumpster area.
What, and this is Commissioner Boda. What is the what are the intervals on those contour lines? It's very small from here.
So these contours are graded at a 3-to-1 slope. So these slopes below these retaining walls would be 3-to-1. So they're, if you're looking to like scale
There it is. Thank you.
these are, yeah, there's 3 feet between these contours.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions?
This is Commissioner Basserman, Mr. Schumacher, the rear of the property, that retaining wall, its purpose is structural, or is there any, is there anything associated with stormwater associated with the wall? You said that was grassed area before the retaining wall?
So yeah, so our site is higher. So the purpose of this
Right.
retaining wall is to allow us to tie back in. We're higher than the existing grade.
Right, so, and how tall is the retaining wall?
This wall is approximately 7 feet on the corner here.
Oh. And the area that where your cursor is, now keep going up. That's grassed area there? Behind that line?
Yeah, so
That's all
this
grass
is,
area?
yep, let me show you on the site plan. So this is our curbing and edge of pavement. This is the wall that we were just talking about, and then this would all be grassed up until our kind of limit of clearing is shown here.
And if we get these 100-year storms, we're saying that the stormwater management plan is going to be able to handle a lot of water in that very small area?
So we're reducing for the 100-year storm the current runoff. So there's more area. So under existing conditions today, right, there's more area discharged into the back of the property than there will be when we're done. So that's how that reduces that area, reduces that discharge.
Okay.
That makes sense. So we're reducing our main discharge for the stormwater is out the front of the site after it goes through the underground system.
This is Commissioner Bagman. I have a question about the elevations of the rear. I thought you said that the area is higher than the surrounding land, but when at the very back, if you scroll, you make it bigger, not on this one, on the one before where you had like 48 feet up to 50.
On the grading plan? Yeah. Hold on, I can go back for you.
You have to make it a little bigger. So from the edge of the driveway at the back, or the pavement at the back, it goes 43, 44, 45, 46. So the land is actually sloping up away from the parking area in the back. If those numbers...
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, like, so under existing conditions, right, we generally slope to the front of the property. So to get tied in, there's a hill here and there's a hill over here, right? We're starting to go back down, and then there's a saddle in the middle.
This is Commissioner Begman. I just, in terms of the way the water is going to flow, we were looking at the water at the back on the grassy area going downhill somewhere. And my understanding at first was that it was going toward the wetland, but it's actually flowing toward the building, around the building, and to the front.
Yes. So this water, yes. Yeah. So I guess I was misleading to say that this whole area is going. There's only a small sliver that goes to the back, right? That's existing basically.
Aaron, why don't you
This-
show them the survey real quick? Bring up the survey so just everyone's aware. We obviously want to balance flows. And if Aaron brings up the survey, you can see in existing conditions, there's a small high point in the back of the site now that pushes water towards the wetlands. And then like 99% of the site goes towards the street. And the proposed conditions, the area that goes to the back is even smaller now. And anything that's improved, retaining walls, buildings, pavement, goes to the front. So anything that touches impervious surface, as Aaron explained, is going through the system. A small portion of landscape area is continuing to the back, as it does in existing conditions. So we're in the development is in a bowl, and there's a landscape hill in the back. Some of that hill goes towards the Rio, as it does today.
This is Commissioner Bergman, are you saying that the amount of water draining to the wetland will be the same before and after development?
It's less, Aaron, right?
Yeah, I can pull up some watershed maps too, Matt. Let me get those from the report. That
Commissioner Bergman, I'm only asking specifically because that wetland we've had an issue with it being too dry after, if I'm correct, if people remember with the neighboring property when that wetland was changed, it ended up being not as wet when they created wetland. So I don't think we want to do anything that decreases the water going to that wetland, in my thinking.
So I think the area we're talking about in the back is very minimal. I can pull the numbers up for you in just a minute. But if you look at, this is the drainage area we're talking about under existing conditions today that we would send towards that wetland. This DP2, right, is this kind of small piece that's labeled EDA2.
And Aaron, remind everybody that this is now less impervious than it was before. The one that you guys approved 2 years ago had more impacts in that area, more paving, more dumpster, more concrete. Now it's more landscaping. So it's a reduction of impacts in that drainage area and in that upland review area.
So so then going to propose the area we're talking about is this smaller area. So we've reduced it by this piece that would go to design point 2, basically. And then I can show you what those numbers would be.
Commissioners, as Aaron's grabbing that up too, the amount of water going to this wetland is very, very minimal from this site. This wetland is mostly fed by other adjacent abutting properties.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. Are you reducing the project size about 25%? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Commissioner, I think it's hard to answer that question because we've shrank building, we've shrank parking, so in what regards are you referring to the 25%?
Well, I'm just the overall project. You're reducing the number of parking spaces. You reduce the size of the building quite extensively. So I'm just you're just shrinking what we've already approved. Is that basically what you're doing?
Absolutely. Building smaller, parking smaller, retaining walls are smaller across the site and specifically in the upland review area.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So design point 2 is what we're talking about, is the rear of the site. So, under your smaller storms, your 2 and, up to the 10-year storm, we're looking at, less than 500 cubic feet of water basically going to that rear wetland that we would be reducing. You can see the amount going to the front is much larger.
Is Commissioner Basserman, did you guys have a wetland scientist look at this at all, or was it just an engineering review?
Commissioner Bassman, this was, the wetland isn't on our property.
Right.
But BL had experience with the adjacent property, which is the Aldi's development.
Right.
So we had some data that client was able to share. So we had the location of it. Again, this wetland is not on our property, and was previously approved and was shrinking.
And that area where your cursor was 2 seconds ago, that is a mitigated wetland area? In other words, there was a redo in that wetland area, or did we leave it alone?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent, there was an impact to that wetland as part of that development. The mitigation was conducted elsewhere on site.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, I think just in general, we think this is a win-win for the town and the applicant. This is a very small site, and we think have come in with the smallest possible user, and we're hopefully coming back to you and requesting to go even smaller, which is a rarity in this industry and probably what you guys usually say. So we want to reduce, and we think that's overall a benefit, but we're happy to answer any more questions if you guys have any.
This is Commissioner.
Any other questions from the commissioner?
This is Commissioner Boda. I was just going to say, I mean, I think reductions are good. Always less impervious, better. I do share Commissioner Begeman's concern about desiccating a wetland when you just some of those numbers that you just showed with what looked like a significant decrease in water to that wetland. I'm just a little, it has my attention as being a negative impact. Yeah, because you've got existing condition, let's see, that was DP2. So you're starting at 175 for the 2-year volume. You're going down to 5 cubic feet. Yeah, that would be my concern at this point. And I think to Chairman Basserman's question of it would be helpful to have perspective from a getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if that's other people are hearing that, but anyway, it would be helpful to have a wetland scientist just address that concern.
Commissioner Boda, I hear the concern. Again, I think this is a very, very tiny area of our site that does contribute to that wetland. I think a wetland scientist would agree that this would be minimal. We can get one on board if you guys think that's necessary, but I know this applicant is really looking to move forward after the 2 years. We've kind of had that other plan, and we really want to reduce here to keep moving forward, to take advantage of this time of year and the weather before, we have to go to planning and zoning and back to DOT before we can start construction.
This is Commissioner Boda. That's certainly understandable. I think saying that it's minimal, these are just raw numbers and there's no context to them. So in terms of the scale of what is going into the wetland, like what kind of cubic foot is typical of that wetland in general, it would just be helpful to put those numbers in context. Are you talking about a 2% change to the wetland, are you talking about a 10% change of water coming into that wetland? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess this drainage scheme is not different from the prior approved plan.
Yeah, Matt. So here's the this is the previously approved drainage report that you guys approved last time, and you can see design point 2 has a very similar condition with the same reductions, similar reductions to what we're proposing today.
This is Commissioner Begemon. How is 55% the same as 97% difference?
I think we have to keep in mind that these are very small numbers in the world of storm drainage. 175 cubic feet is very, very minimal, very small watershed. So I would look more at the number than kind of the percentage reduction.
But this is Commissioner Boda. I guess those numbers are about the volume leaving the site. And I'm, if this happened a couple of years ago, you will forgive me for not recalling the scale of the wetland and how much water is flowing into it, and therefore what kind of rate of change of volume is that for the wetland? This is about the site. This isn't. Do you follow my? I'm sorry, I'm just getting a lot of feedback, so it's.
I guess, Mr. Motor, we can go and look to see how much area goes to this wetland and how much our little sliver of a rear of our property goes to that wetland. But what Aaron and I are saying is this hasn't changed from the prior approval, which you guys did 2 years ago.
Okay. That would be helpful.
Is Commissioner Bassman, any other comments or questions from the commission?
No.
So I guess it's, again, Commissioner Bassman, I guess your desire to move quickly, I assume we'd be able to review that information at our next meeting and hopefully bring this to a close.
Yeah, we can prepare that information in time for your next meeting.
Appreciate that. Inlet Wetland, 240602, 329 East Main Street, the PDD, mixed use of commercial and residential, the request to, again, modify the existing permit. And for the applicant, we have.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, my name is Aaron Schumacher with BL Companies. We'll be presenting on this application as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just pull up those materials if you give me a moment.
Sure.
Okay, so this site is the 325 East Main Street site. I believe you guys are pretty familiar with the site from the various activities that we've had going on there. Just wanted to start by giving you kind of a rundown of kind of the changes that we're requesting. Mr. Schmitz from our office submitted some plans that I'm sharing here on the screen that have kind of keynotes, as well as a memo that references those. So I'm just going to run us through those together. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions along the way. So we'll start with the site plan. First change that was made here And actually, I should back up 1 minute. All these changes were made kind of as we went through the design process, either with planning and zoning, because one of their requests, or we also went through DOT permitting with this project, and they had various requests along the way that led to some of these changes. So we'll start over here. Number one, on the old site plan, there used to be an access that came through here. It was a one-way out. As part of the DOT process, they asked us to remove that. So we removed that one way, and we relocated the dumpster into this area. So that's kind of 1 and 2, the memo of the changes. Number 3 also kind of equates to that same change. When we did that, we were able to remove a retaining wall and kind of regrade this area on the side of the building here, number 3, clouded there. Number 4 is back here in the rear of the property. We made some minor changes to the layout and the fire access. And just so everyone knows, this is kind of in the upland review area. The wetlands basically surround this entire property to the rear of the property. Number 5 also goes along with this rear parking lot. We made some changes to the kind of the layout and the routing basically, and the sidewalks in this rear parking lot area here. Number 6 is also back in this area as part of that kind of revising this lot. We relocated the proposed dumpster area to over here. As you can see, the dumpster enclosure shown. Number 7 equates to the connection between the self-storage building and the residential side. That was removed and replaced with just an emergency access instead of a full paved connection. Number 8 on the site plan is out here on the front of the site. As part of the DOT permitting, they required some curb ramp improvements, some pedestals, some crosswalks. So there was various revisions kind of to the intersection here that were requested and required by the DOT. So we've made those revisions to the plan. The next kind of round of revisions that we have is on the grading and drainage plan. So I'll switch over to that similar kind of setup where we have kind of clouded the changes for you in red. So number 1, we revised the grading kind of in that dumpster where we had that proposed cut through, and along the building, kind of already talked about in the site plan, but we revised the grades there as well. Number 2.
Mr. Schumacher, can you clarify when you say you revised the grades there, you revised them how?
So we removed this retaining wall, we regraded the sidewalk. There used to be a driveway here, so we regraded that so the driveway is gone.
So you've leveled it?
I can't I wouldn't say we leveled it. We turned this into a 3-to-1 slope instead of a retaining wall. This is now graded as a walk instead of a kind of road cut through. So I would say that these grading changes were mostly to support that we're now going to have a different use there. So we wouldn't want it graded like a parking lot if it's going to be a sidewalk, or, we wouldn't want it to be as flat if it's going to be a grass slope, if that makes sense.
Kind of. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so number 2 pertains to the kind of the grading as well. So when we revise kind of the layout and the sidewalks for this back parking lot area, we also revised the grading to make that back parking lot and those sidewalks still work.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Did we increase the grading?
I wouldn't say we increased the grading. I would say that we just refined the slopes. I mean, we're talking about, we might have added a half a foot, taken off a half a foot, a couple tenths. Just minor regrading, I would call it.
Because we're fairly close to the wetland there.
Jamie, Frederick, and the wetland agent, I would probably summarize the grading changes in that area as promoting drainage to the proposed drainage system. So because the parking lot layout has modified slightly, just making sure that those paved areas are going to convey to the stormwater is the primary point of the grade changes that occurred.
Okay.
So number 4 is a drainage revision. We had a catch basin proposed that was supporting this driveway cut through that used to be here that we removed. So as part of that revision, we removed that catch basin. Number 5, there was some new storm drainage piping proposed to connect this catch basin. We made a revision to reuse the existing piping system instead of putting in that new pipe. Number 6, through here, we made some revisions to the storm drainage network to avoid some water conflicts moving through the front of this building. Number 7 is
Mr. Schumacher, this is Commissioner Bodo. Can you say what you mean? That was very shorthanded. To avoid some water conflicts.
So we have other utilities that are running through this. There's a water easement that runs through here, and a water line. I think on our original plans when we came through wetlands, we had some of this drainage that was interfering with that easement and that water line. So we just revised some of the inlet locations and the piping to avoid that easement and that water line.
Okay, thank you. The clearer is helpful.
Yeah, and as far as these kind of storm drainage and grading revisions that we made, they're all kind of interior to the site, right? We still are maintaining the same watersheds and same of the discharge points to the exterior of the site. So number 6. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I guess to that, this is Commissioner Bodo, to that comment, is there a change of volume or velocity leaving the site, or some of those, I guess that would be the northeast outlets?
So this site was permitted through Wetlands and Planning and Zoning and approved based on the understanding that we significantly reduced the impervious on site. So this site was very heavily impervious before we started this project.
Mm-hmm.
So we do not have a study of the volume and the rate to each outlet as part of this permitting process. Does that answer your question, or?
Kind of. I mean, I guess maybe maybe the answer would be the same, but I'll try to ask it a little bit differently. This is Commissioner Boda. So based on the engineering that was approved versus the revisions that you're proposing, are we seeing a difference engineering wise in volume or velocity that would leave the site based on calculations?
So the way so as part of this permitting, right? There's 3 outlets on this site. There's one over here, one here, and then 2 in the rear of the property. The way we permitted this project and the way we did the engineering was we studied the existing impervious going to each one of these outlets. And then we studied the proposed impervious going to each one of these outlets. And we showed that there's an increase in the impervious, which, using kind of standard engineering knowledge, you decrease the impervious, and we decrease the rate, the runoff, basically, is the understanding. So I can't tell you that like 20 CFS is going out this outlet, right? We didn't study to that degree on this project. We just studied the impervious number, and we are matching the impervious that was permitted going to each one of these outlets.
I understand.
So like, if we look at this drainage change that we made in the front, so these catch basins that are up here in this front area go to this outlet. The kind of the change that we made associated with number 5 is we rerouted them through the existing piping system to reuse a couple of these existing pipes that also still go to this outlet. So by changing that, I didn't change any of my coverage or anything. I just changed the way that it's getting there. And then same thing over here with number 6. I'm not changing any of the kind of the areas going into these catch basins. I'm just changing the point that it's getting into that catch basin. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. Thank you.
Okay. Number 7 was also kind of along those lines. This catch basin was kept instead of being removed and is still routed through the existing system. Number 8 is we revised the routing and the catch basins locations in this piece of the back parking lot. They still have the same area that discharges to this outlet. Number 9 is kind of the same thing. So this piece of the parking lot has always gone to this outlet. So we revised the location of this catch basin, this network, when we revised this layout to this outlet, basically. Number 10. So number 10 was a note about the outlet protection the DOT requested us add. So as part of the DOT approval, because we're taking drainage from their East Main Street out here that comes through our property, and that's always come through our property, they requested that we add this note regarding the riprap and the flared end section just to make sure that it's in operational condition. And number 11 is we added some additional yard drains on this corner of the building that allowed us to get the storm drainage out when we regraded this area. So that's kind of a quick overview of the revised materials and kind of the changes that we've made. Be happy to elaborate on any of them further or go back and discuss them further, whatever the commission would like.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Jamie, I understand the implication of the question. I guess, what do our regulations say, if any, regarding the extent of what a modification is as opposed to something other than a modification when a permit's already been issued?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. I think that kind of falls to the commission's determination. I would say to me, this seems to fall within a modification. If the commission's concerned about the level of information provided, I think that you could certainly request additional information if there's something you think is outstanding. But I would say overall, generally speaking, the project still seems to be in alignment with what was reviewed by the commission. There is I believe, a minor reduction in impervious from what was approved by the commission. Everything is within the same footprint of what was approved by the commission. I do believe there were stormwater calculations provided when the commission reviewed this initially, but I don't think that takes away from the point that Aaron was making regarding the fact that the conveyance, generally speaking, has not changed. And there was a significant reduction in the amount of discharge to most of the discharge points assessed. If the commission wants, I can screen share the summary table of that. I did pull it up from the application.
This Commissioner Bassman again, though, Jamie, does that mean that we don't have a comparison on the modification in terms of the water velocity, water volume at each of the discharge points?
Jamie Frederick and Wetland Agent, at this time we do not have an updated stormwater report, or stormwater calculations.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and share what you were going to. I'm sorry.
No worries. All right, is everyone seeing a PDF?
Executive summary.
All right.
Okay.
So there were 4 design points, and you can see that at 3 of the 4 there were substantial decreases, which is ideal given that a lot of the discharge is directly to wetland area based on existing conditions from the previous development. All 4 had a reduction, and there were improvements to the treatment train to some extent, and hydrodynamic separators exist within each drainage system.
Commissioner Basserman, just to be clear, and we're looking at a table of the existing condition versus, and when we say proposed condition, that's the revision we're looking at?
No, the proposed condition is what the commission approved. So we do not have an updated table like this for the modifications. I would generally assume the modifications are fairly minor because, the amount of impervious has slightly decreased, and it's not like they connected 2 treatment trains to create 2 trains instead of 3. That being said, we do not have those numbers.
Jamie, this is Commissioner Boda. Does the town engineer look at this? Do we have comments from the town engineer?
We do not have comments from the town engineer on this.
Is this something that the town engineer would look at and flag if it was problematic?
We could ask the town engineer to take a look at it. Would you be asking essentially whether or not the updated calculation information would be necessary? Are you looking for that information to be available so that you can look at that information?
No, I mean,
this
is Commissioner Boda. I think, we have limited expertise on the commission. We do not have an active engineer, right? So.
Okay.
I mean, these to me these changes, I don't know, they seem fine, but I wouldn't know.
Sure. does the commission want it to come back after the engineer has looked at it, or if the engineer is okay with the modifications, would you be okay with staff moving forward with those modifications as outlined? And I'm not entirely sure. Did we make it to the end? So I don't want to make you make that call necessarily if we haven't gotten to the end yet.
This is Commissioner Boda. I would be okay with that and I'm speaking only for myself, but if the town engineer gave it a once over, that I would just, that would be fine.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I feel the same way. I mean, there's been a lot of changes to this property. They've come before us numerous times. I'm not saying they're bad changes, but we just want to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Basserman. I also don't want future applications to point to this if we don't have an engineering assessment or a proposed and a revised when we do a modification. When stormwater management is a big part of what we review.
Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I believe that most of these drainage revisions were made prior to planning and zoning approval, right? And that approval would have incorporated a town engineer's approval, I believe. Is that correct or no?
Jamie Frederick, inland wetland agent. I do know that the modification, or I understand, I was not part of the planning and zoning review on this application, but it is my understanding that the parking modification that would have been probably the largest change to the drainage was required by planning and zoning. So that is possible. So I can double check that, but I will also so that way the town engineer has the context of what he may have reviewed and not have reviewed.
This is Commissioner Goklowski.
But I can still send it to him for comment.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Goklowski. At the same token, they may have approved it after we approved our portion of the application. We're just looking for somebody to take a look-see to make sure that we're still, and we're doing the right thing here. That's all. Very simple.
Do we need a motion?
This is Commissioner
Mr. Schumacher, did we get through the end of the list of changes? Just want to
I
make sure.
believe that's all the changes, yes.
Okay.
Submitted on.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Does any commissioner feel differently than having Jamie review the engineering assessment? And if there's nothing particularly troublesome about that, that she can go ahead and move forward with it.
This is Commissioner Boda. I think it was the town engineer that was going to take a peek at it.
Yes, but the question was, did it need to come back to the commission?
Right. And then as long as the town engineer didn't, if the town engineer was okay, then staff could go forward with the revisions.
This is Commissioner Murski. I'm in agreement with agent approval if there's no issues.
Yeah,
just to clarify.
Okay. Anything else on inland wetland 240602? Next up, enforcement. CISA correct 260701, 329, 349 East Main Street. Containment of the stormwater discharge into the wetlands. This is a continuation of a show cause hearing from August 13th. I guess I would ask Heather. I guess, have you been out there, Heather? Can't hear you.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, excellent. Hi, Heather Grinnell, Enforcement Officer. You were asked if I had been out there? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I've been out here multiple times, and there is improvement. I can speak to that. They have been addressing some of the concerns. I was out there earlier today. I've been out, I think, at least twice since our last meeting. And at one point, it was a bit of a backslide, but I did immediately reach out to the appropriate parties, and they remedied that situation. I did take some pictures. I can try to share my screen if people would like to see them, but I think Olivia did upload them to the Dropbox or something. So you may already have access to them. So as far as the stockpile is concerned, they have pulled the stockpile away from the most problematic catch basin. That was, it is not gone, and it has not been completely removed, but it has been pulled back about 6 or 8 feet, and there's been some very large blocks, like the size of slightly larger than a motorcycle, put in position around it so that no more material can get dumped onto that particular stockpile, the one that had the chunks of concrete and some of the asphalt chunks. They have not begun to do any grinding. I did request when I spoke to the man on site today, if they do start grinding any of the concrete, if at all possible, to call me or to communicate in some way that it's begun. They haven't set anything up though, and I was again reassured that should they set up the system, that it would be done in an appropriate location with the as far away from catch basins and to minimize any further spread of whatever grindings that happen. So that's the stockpile situation. There's one more smaller stockpile of the asphalt millings, which they have trucked much of it off site. And today it was a much smaller pile, and it is contained and it is wrapped in a silt fence. They said, the man I spoke to today said they've actually been trucking it off site. And I reminded them that their permit did allow them to use it as a base for some other paving, but prior to that, it needs to be contained and covered. So if they're going to use it and it's going to stay, it needs to get covered and silt fenced. Going to the styrofoam, the EPS containment system is still up. I have checked several times. It's certainly significantly better. Even just being contained has been a lot better. There's still a fair amount on the ground, but underneath and within, and I don't know how frequently they are actively cleaning it up, but it's not an amount that like has any depth or anything, so you can't say it's like a half an inch or a quarter inch. It's like a dusting. So presumably it's not as difficult to either rake up or even potentially vacuum if the ground was dry enough. I did get a report, or there are some handwritten reports that were daily, and I did get a week's worth of those, but it was not the most recent week. It was, I believe it was last week. Yeah, I think it was the 17th through the 21st. And I think there was one day during the week that it was actually raining, and they did indicate on the report that they were not doing any rasping. that particular day, which is fine. And that will help minimize any kind of, if there is a water draining through, it's not going to carry that styrofoam further into the wetlands. My own inspection and their reports indicate that they are inspecting the wetlands for any further accumulation, and that they have not seen any. This is from their reports. My own investigation or looking at the different outlets. The outlet that is toward the road, the one that had the most significant amount of styrofoam in it, has been much cleaner as far as the styrofoam is concerned. There is still a small amount accumulated, and by small I mean probably about the size of my hand, kind of clustered. If I look further on, yes, I can see some on the banks further down in the wetlands as it flows, but there's no large accumulations, and it doesn't seem to have gotten any significantly worse. As far as the styrofoam that is sort of in the dirt around the facility, that was already around the building, what was already there, and they're doing a lot of the prepping for the sidewalks and the driveways, so a lot of that dirt is getting turned over, and so inevitably a lot of the styrofoam that is there that wasn't thoroughly cleaned up is kind of getting churned and turned over in that. I don't know how much of that is preventable, in the sense that it's already in location and they have been preventing a significant amount more, but that is what is happening. As moving on to the other outlets that were showing signs of sedimentation, the styrofoam outlet does not appear to have any soil or erosion sedimentation in it. Nothing continuing. What's already there is still there, and you can see it, but the water itself is clear, which is good. The separators have been recently checked. I was reassured that there was no oil or dirt, that they're functioning properly and look good. The second outlet in the southeast corner, I believe, that one is still a bit of a concern to me. The water is sort of that brown color and cloudy, maybe a little milky. It's hard to tell because I can't really get through the fence, so I've taken pictures as effectively as I can with the little camera phone I have. And the color of that, I cannot, obviously I'm not a scientist, so I cannot determine if it's something that is below the surface or it's the water itself. It does look different than the other two outlets. The third outlet, the one that is closest to the self-storage area and closest to the stockpile, the one that is directly fed by the catch basin, I think it's 18, that was under the stockpile. Again, you can see the sedimentation that has accumulated in the past, but the water is clear and it doesn't appear to be increasing the impact. And as far as like the site as a whole, it does seem like they're trying to contain things. I see less trash around, which is great. Even stuff like, all the debris that was just sort of flying everywhere, water bottles and things like that, definitely seems to have been reduced, which is also the air, wind blown into the wetlands to some degree. So I see improvements. They are working toward it. They've been very responsive. And my only concern is that there's basically that I need to spend a lot of time making sure that they stay on this and that nothing gets worse. So that's, and I don't know if there has been any impacts that need to be looked at further, but that's what I see.
So Commissioner Gokowski, Heather, so which basically you're telling the commission this is going to be an ongoing project that we're going to have to monitor on a closely knit basis to make sure that they're in compliance with all future situations that may arise on the property. Is that correct?
That is, Wetlands Enforcement Officer Gwinnell, yes, that is correct. I will absolutely be. I feel that that is the appropriate course. Yeah,
okay.
Unfortunately.
Yes, Commissioner Basserman, you took some photos today.
Yeah.
Number 3, the picture of the styrofoam. What catch basin was that, or outlet was that?
Enforcement Officer Gwinnell, just sorry, just a housekeeping thing. I have all the pictures. I'm not sure which one was picture 3. Olivia, where would I find the specific document?
It's the photos of 827. There's 3 pictures. It's the last one when I scroll. There, keep going.
Okay. Okay, that is the catch basin at the one in the middle, which is, I believe, the southeast corner of the lot. So there's the one up by the road, the main, Route 1. Then this one in the corner, and then there's the one at what I believe is the rear corner of the lot by the self-storage building.
So Jamie Frederick and
Go ahead.
Lenny, I was going to clarify, this is the wetland near the outfall in the southeast corner.
And this is Commissioner Basserman again. Is this the worst of the bunch in terms of the amount of styrofoam?
Officer Gwinnell, this was not the worst of the bunch as far as styrofoam. This was the worst of the bunch as far as sedimentation. I didn't take a picture of the styrofoam one today because it was almost identical to what it was a couple days ago. Did I? I don't know that Olivia had uploaded that picture.
I don't think those pictures were provided.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bear with me for 1 second. I take a lot of pictures.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent, while Gwinnell's looking for that. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, I thought I had sent these over. Apologies that I did not. I can share my screen if it makes it easier, and I will send these to Olivia. Okay. Just let me know when I. All right. So these are my pictures from. Let's see if I can pull up the date. So these are from August 19th. There may be pictures of other sites in here, so apologies. So this is some of the styrofoam that I was referring to. That, yes, it's there, and it can be cleaned up, and it's not accumulated past this. This is what I've seen most of the time. This is the outlet. So that's about the amount of styrofoam that I see now, and it's sitting on the water, which you can see obviously is clear.
Mr. Basserman, just to be clear, that was the 19th of August?
This is the 19th. That's correct.
Okay, and the one that we had looked at previously was today?
Correct. So this is the outlet up by the street. the one that was most problematic for styrofoam purposes. Then the outlet that you looked at today was the one in the back corner.
And I'm not sure I understood correctly the monitoring reports. Are we getting them as per instruction, or is that not being the case?
They have been they've been doing handwritten reports every day, and I've gotten last week's yesterday. So as long as they keep going, then that would be appropriate. That I receive them once a week, but they're actually doing these things every day. What I would actually request, and what I was planning. Which was
the agreement?
Yes. Well, okay. Actually, Wetlands Officer Gwinnell, I do not recall if the agreement is that I'm supposed to receive them daily or receive them once a week.
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent, at the last meeting, we discussed that they would be done daily, but submitted once a week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wetlands Officer Gwinnell, these pictures, which I think you can still see, this is the same outlet on the 19th as the picture I showed you today. So this is the same water, just it has not improved.
This is Commissioner.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Begman on the meeting on August 13th. I believe that Mr. Vigliotti had said that, you know, all the styrofoam beads have been taken out of the waterways, that it had all been cleaned up. That hasn't occurred. And so I have a question about that. And the other thing is, when you show the picture, the little styrofoam beads in the dirt at the base of where they're working, that looks to me really difficult. Can they vacuum that up without having to vacuum up all that dirt? So to me, that isn't a very good solution, to have the stuff just going onto dirt. I mean, I don't know what it's like at this work site. They didn't have the screening. They had the green screening. They need the black, or vice versa, whichever it was, with the smaller holes so the EPS couldn't get through it. And I know that they said they would either vacuum or sweep this stuff up at the end of every day. But you're saying that it's getting tracked around the site, which means it's going to be in the land. And we don't want that. So why can't they put down tarps or something that they work on, and then it wouldn't be in the dirt, and it would be a lot easier to clean up whatever ends up on the ground? Just a question. And the third question is, 2 meetings ago, July, whatever, there was some discussion about whether, given the violations and all, the commission might consider the pausing of the permit or revoking of a permit. And can you just give an update on where that stands?
Wetlands Officer Gwinnell, I can certainly tell them that they need to lay some sort of plastic sheeting or something underneath their work site so that that area can be cleaned up more easily. It was in one of the best practices suggestions, and so I will definitely push that and enforce it. I think it's a reasonable request. The second thing, as far as I have no knowledge or understanding of even how the revoking or the pausing of a permit would go. That would have to be something you discuss with Director Fredericks or the town attorney. I can enforce it, but I don't know how to establish that sort of thing.
This is Commissioner Gopowski. I know we had a lengthy discussion in regards to Commissioner Begerman's question. There was a big discussion regarding of discussing the situation with the town attorney to find out what we can do. And my question to Enforcement Officer Grinnell, the styrofoam that's on the ground, is that current styrofoam or is that styrofoam that's been laying around from when they started this project? That's my question. Do you know that?
Yes, Enforcement Officer Grinnell, that is new. That's current styrofoam. So there have been cleanup, and then
They're well aware that they've got to keep the site clean. So I mean, you know, the styrofoam is a big issue with the commission because it can travel very easily because it's so light.
Enforcement Officer Grinnell, I will I will inform them first thing in the morning, and I can schedule myself to visit tomorrow afternoon and maybe have them start delivering those reports along with pictures. That might.
Sorry.
We know we
Commissioner Basserman, when you had your meeting, I think it was the 31st, was there a document that the parties agreed to this would be the plan going forward?
Well, Enforcement Officer Grinnell, yes, they had sent over a best practice, their plan to move forward, which did include a daily cleanup. So,
and if we looked at that document, you know, where would we give check marks as being on schedule, on time, in compliance, whatever? And where are the areas that are not checked?
The most, Wetlands Officer Grinnell, the most egregious problem is, as far as the styrofoam is concerned, the daily cleanup of what any of the raspings are there, and the anything that has been there prior. The amount of cleanup that they did improved it, but didn't remove all of it.
I guess if I'm looking, this Commissioner Bassett, if I'm looking at this picture as current, and we say improvement, that's a pretty low bar.
Amy Frederick and the wetland agent. So this picture was taken during the middle of a workday, and their directives are that they clean up at the end of the day. So I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong, but I think that, you know, the best management practice of laying down a tarp, we should ask them to do that or explain why they can't. And it might be worthwhile for Officer Gwinnell to try and either do an inspection end of the day or early in the day to see what it looks like after a cleanup and before they start activity again.
I buy that.
And this is Commissioner Bagman. The incomplete cleanup, what does the commission do about that? In terms of the EPS in the waterway, Heather, I think you said that there was some, you know, right there that you took the picture of, and then you look down the little brook and it's on the banks.
Yes, Wetlands Officer Gwinnell, I do not have the expertise to outline how that would be what the most appropriate and least damaging way to clean up that.
No, it's Commissioner Bagman. My question is, what does the commission do when somebody who is supposed to clean things up and said they did, and you still see it there? What action can the commission or can the enforcement officer or, you know, make at this point?
Enforcement Officer Gwinnell, I would honestly have to defer to Jamie or past practices to make suggestions.
Jamie Frederick in the wetland agent. So I think that there's multiple layers at play. So I have not been out to the site anywhere near as often as Heather has been. It's possible that a cleanup event occurred and that more styrofoam was introduced to the water course. I don't know the extent of the cleanup that occurred in the wetlands. I know the wetland does extend onto state property. So I think, so we did have a wetland scientist go out and take a look at the wetland, and they presented at the last meeting. If the commission's looking for a further impact assessment of the wetland and whether or not additional cleanup activities warranted beyond what can be seen, you know, from within the limits of disturbance, which appears to be where that inspection occurred, I think that definitely needs to be conveyed to the property owners sooner rather than later, and what your expectation is.
This is Commissioner Bassman. Is there anyone on the call this evening for this cease and correct enforcement activity?
I believe that we have Mr. Schumacher from BL Companies present still.
This is
Maybe he'd like to say a few words.
Commissioner Bassman, just 1 second. In this picture that we have on the screen, Enforcement Officer Grinnell, is that plastic sheeting hanging in front of the building where they're shooting the styrofoam? So the styrofoam is contained behind the plastic? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Wetlands Officer Grinnell. So you can see the legs of the scaffolding.
Right.
The scaffolding is up against the side of the building to the roof line. And then that plastic sheeting is the green that you can see here is is attached to the outside of that scaffolding all the way up. So it's draped on the bottom all the way up to the top and then over the top of the work area. So that is being contained within it.
Okay, so that styrofoam that we're looking at is not getting blown around the property like I originally thought. It's being contained in that area. So if they're cleaning it up at the end of the day, they're doing what they're supposed to do. The only question is, are they cleaning it up at the end of the day?
Correct. This is an example of how it's being anchored at the bottom. And this is what it looks like on the outside of the building. So you can see within this is the work area.
So they took steps to contain it.
They have definitely been taking steps to, Wetlands Officer Grinnell, yes, they've been taking steps to contain it. The only question I would have is if they are doing enough regular cleanups and not sort of just waiting until maybe the end of the week or something. That might be a point. And the tarping at the ground across the ground could easily be added and would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bassman, I'd like to hear from whoever is familiar with the site, who's representing the site this evening.
Commissioner Basherman, for the record, my name is Aaron Schumacher, again with BL Companies. Familiar with the site. I'm by no means an expert on the styrofoam issue. I do site civil work, but it's my understanding from the applicant that they have made an effort to clean up the wetlands. It sounds like that might be the commission's wish that effort be taken a little further, maybe with some additional hand cleaning. I believe that was the recommendation of our soil scientist, Mr. Sagan, who was on last month to talk to you guys, I believe. So we can certainly convey that to do some additional cleaning to try to get some of those areas that were noticed of the styrofoam where it's reached the wetlands. As far as the pictures of the containment area, I believe what we've been looking at tonight is with all kind of within the containment area and not outside. I don't know, kind of have before and after, I guess, pictures of those cleanups. I can certainly request those from the contractor doing that work, maybe a before cleanup and after cleanup picture, to share with you guys if you would like something like that. That's kind of as much as I know about the styrofoam issue, but I'm happy to answer other questions that you guys have on the site as well.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Mr. Schumacher, I guess the trouble I have is I'm looking at a picture that was taken today showing clearly a bunch of styrofoam in a catch basin, and yet we talk about it being contained within the construction site. The two don't seem to go together. If we're containing it, I should not be seeing, unless this is old styrofoam, in the picture that was taken today.
Mr. Chairman, could you just refresh my memory on where that picture was and what catch basin it was? Because we can certainly direct that to get cleaned up, first thing tomorrow.
This is Enforcement Officer Gwinnell. The catch basin is actually the one that is, I don't have a site plan up. It's the one closest to the Route 1.
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. So we're talking about the outfall, not the catch basin.
Sorry, correct. The outfall, correct. Yes.
This is Commissioner Bursky. I just have a question. This image, and I just want to clarify my understanding, Officer Gwinnell. I know, and I couldn't tell from the other image with the plastic sheeting. I mean, is there any concerns about the way it's being held down? I only ask because this image, it's a little bit far away, but it looks like some areas by the corner, it looks like it might be towards the building. It might not. Oh, now it's. Yeah, if you could, yeah. So I guess my question is, yeah, now it's very close. Thank you. But I know they're using looks like stones or some sort of material of some sort to keep it down. I'm inferring there. Do you have any concerns about sufficient material keeping the bottom down, or any openings where it might not be flush with the ground? It doesn't look like it, but I was just asking for clarification.
Enforcement Officer Gwinnell, when I walked around this, it was much as what you see, which is it is anchored down at intervals that allow maybe the most, like maybe 5 inches between stones, something like that. And it does seem to be anchored. The only thing that I was actually going to suggest to them tomorrow is if they have maybe a 2x4 or some other piece of maybe if they have a long metal pole or something, laying that first, which will kind of make a rigid, and then putting the stones on it to keep that dead. And I was actually going to say tomorrow that's what they should do, but it does need to be anchored down somehow. Otherwise, even the activity of the guys jumping off of the scaffolding can create just enough of an air burst that it would push it out. I mean, it's a heavier tarp. However, they are in there using tools and potentially vacuums. And so I would definitely not want them to have it flapping or loose or anything like that.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. How long has that tarp been sitting on that side of the building? How long have they been working? Do you know?
Since before I went on vacation. So, probably since it has moved a little. The last meeting that I was at was not September 24th, July 23rd. And it had migrated from the back side of the side of the building we can't see So probably probably about a month.
Okay, all right. So they're moving the scaffolding while they're working around the building. So
Yeah.
they started from the back side and they're working their way around.
Yeah, I'm going to pull out here for a second and you'll be able to see. So actually, I did not take it wide enough. This side, can you see my cursor?
Yep.
That is the entrance to the highway. So this whole side of the building is the entrance exit to the highway. Where we are standing in this picture, our back is to Route 1.
Okay.
So this is the rear side of building 2. Or,
Okay.
sorry, whichever building they're building second. I think it's...
This is Commissioner Basserman. Heather, you're going to be out there tomorrow?
Yep. I will be out there.
And
sorry,
can you
this is Officer
document for
Gwinnell.
the
I'll go in
record?
the morning.
Yeah, can you document for the record what it is, the remedies that we're going to ask them to do? So that we have no issue of clarity of what the commission is asking for.
Yes, so this is Officer Gwinnell. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we will ask for a tarp on the ground. Once the ground has been cleaned up, place a tarp down that will catch any accumulations during the day, during the workday, and that the area is cleaned each evening with a picture to be included with their daily reports that the foreman has been filling out, and further hand cleanup in the wetlands area. If the commissioners would like, I will take pictures of the areas in those wetlands adjacent to the side here that maybe I see more styrofoam accumulated. I'll bring those to their attention. I would be personally a little bit cautious though, because we're starting to ask them to maybe do activity on state property, and I think that might not be appropriate. And then and I'd like to see them attempt to clean up more of the dirt prior to laying down any more sidewalk, that kind of a thing. So further cleanup of the styrofoam in particular.
This is Commissioner Goklowski, and I think Jamie can answer this next question. Jamie, the picture that we're looking at, on the left side of the picture, the greenage, that area in there, that is actually state property, isn't it?
Jamie Frederick and the wetland agent. Yeah, majority of,
Okay.
well, part of it is. The wetland is along that side is mostly on state property, but there is some on the subject property.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Is Commissioner Basserman anything else from the commission to add to the wish list?
This is
Okay,
Commissioner Armstrong. I just have one question. Is that covering on the building, is it permeable? In other words, when it rains, what happens?
This is Officer Gwinnell. Yes, it is permeable. They were told, and they have, if there is any significant rain, they're not supposed to be out working, which one of their reports does indicate that when it was raining, they stopped. It's not permeable enough to allow any of the EPS raspings through, but it will allow water and it will allow air to flow through.
Okay, so when it's on the ground, would you have pools of water if you got a heavy rain? Would you have a lot of water, a lot around the building because of the tarp?
So presumably yes. However, the gaps between the stones that are holding it down would allow the water to drain. And so that would be a concern. And part of why I was thinking that a 2x4 would be a better, it would certainly allow far less styrofoam to pass underneath it.
Right, because presumably when the water drains, it would carry out anything that it can float or is small enough to go with it. So, okay.
This is Commissioner Bagman. Heather, when you said further hand cleanup in the wetland area, that's in accordance with the recommendation of the wetland scientist as to how to do it, and then with state permission if they need it, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
I'm
This is
going
Commissioner
to.
Bassman. So Jamie, is this an uphold and continue or continue and uphold? What's the appropriate language?
Jamie Frederick in the wetland agent. I don't think you have to, so unless you're essentially making, I think you can continue it, understanding that you want an update on the information that we just discussed. I don't think that you have to make any sort of decision at this moment beyond making sure that there's clear direction to follow up with the property owner. And it sounds like Heather has her list. If there was anything omitted from it, make sure she knows. I would also ask the commission whether you want to continue this matter to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is September 10th, or the subsequent meeting. We do have a lot of items on our September 10th meeting. So I can understand and respect that the commission wants to make sure that this is continuing on the correct track and that we get things improved. So I guess my question for the commission is, do you have immediate concerns that you feel you need an update in 2 weeks? Or do you want to see how it goes and hopefully in a month Heather has good report back? And Olivia Sandberg is correcting me, saying September 24th is the second meeting.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I think if there's any urgencies within the next couple weeks, Enforcement Officer Grinnell would bring it to the attention to add it to the agenda item if need be. If not, moving into the following meeting is okay by me.
Commissioner Bassman, is that a general consensus? Okay. So cease and correct 260701 is continued until the September 24th meeting, unless conditions force it to be on our September 10th. Is that the next?
Yeah.
September 10th meeting. Thank you. Okay. Applications for review, A and B. I think given the prior comments from staff, we won't discuss this evening. So item C, Inland Wetland 26-31, 26 North Main Street, Unit 7, a manufactured home. It's in the Open Gov. There's a staff report on this. Is there any discussion needed before we look at the staff report, Jamie?
Jamie Frederick, Inland Wetland Agent. I'm sorry, I kind of spaced out for a second. We're on 26 North Main Street, correct?
Correct.
We do have the applicant present. I don't think that there's been a presentation on this application yet at this point. So I would probably defer for a brief presentation. Would the applicant like for me to screen share the site plan, or would you like to screen share?
Yeah, that would be good, Jamie, because I don't know how to screen share.
Okay.
So you can put it up there. Thank you.
Bear with me while I pull it up.
I guess I could begin to talk about it while it's coming up. I'm just basically replacing a mobile home that was in really blighted, bad condition, and replacing it with a new mobile home. It's 4 feet longer than the prior home, which we got the Board of Approval, BOA, said they're okay with that. And we just want to get the new home in, which we can't do until we get all the approvals. And then we can get all our contractors back and hopefully get them back in a timely manner and get the home ordered, so maybe we can fix that piece of property, which I think. So it's unit number 7, which is about, okay, you can see you can see my mouse, right?
No, we cannot.
No.
So Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent, I'm just going to share this.
You can see your
momentarily.
cursor. It's
Oh,
small.
you can.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing mine.
We see
Yeah.
we see a cursor.
Yeah, you're seeing my cursor. So
There it is. Number 7. Look at that.
which is right here. So this
Yep,
is the
right
third.
near the D, right? No, right near the R. Near the R. Is that it?
This are.
Yeah,
This is number 7.
I think so.
And then
Yes.
a minute.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. Wasn't there a removal of the building, the old building that came before the commission, Jamie?
Yes.
The pretense that
So-
it would be a new one?
There was an application a year or two ago for some replacements, and this is for another one. So
Okay.
here's unit 7,
Okay.
the proposed unit with some small deck and some access points, proposed erosion controls along the property line. The wetland is off-site between the subject property and Route 1. And the water course component of the wetland is shown on the site plan. The wetland itself has not been delineated. However, this is higher than the wetland, so it's all in the upland review area. Fairly straightforward replacement. You can see the old unit underneath that they're looking to replace. So essentially we would be proposing an erosion control inspection and a final inspection and a planting inspection, because they are proposing to plant a row of arborvitae to the rear of the unit.
This is Commissioner Begeman. They're putting in a concrete slab. Was there no concrete slab before? And just to understand, is that now the standard that they have to go on a concrete slab?
Yeah, well, for HUD approval, if they're new homes have to be set on a concrete slab.
Thank you.
It's much better. It's much easier to maintain the homes. We don't break the with the skirting sitting on the dirt. First of all, the homes can sink a little bit. They settle, and then the skirting, when you mow the lawn, if there's any rocks, it makes holes in the skirting. It's a real mess. So even though there's a big cost involved in putting the slab in, it's better for the home. It just makes everything last longer and in better condition.
This is Commissioner Begeman. So when people are pouring, this is a question for Jamie, I think. When people are pouring concrete, that's what is the erosion. Is there anything needed more than erosion control?
Yeah, Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. So the silt fence will be in place when they're pouring the concrete and when they are revegetating any ground disturbance from that activity. Because sometimes, the lawn around that area can get impacted, so they might have to reseed a little bit. So once that work is completed, we would say that they were good to remove the silt fence.
And this is Commissioner Begeman, just because I don't know. With this size of concrete pad, they don't have a washout station for the concrete machine?
Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent, we've never required that on this size project before.
Commissioner Begeman, I figure that if concrete is being washed out of some container, it can't just go on the ground. So that was my question.
I believe there'll likely be a concrete truck that would be, and once the pour is done, the truck would move on to its next job.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Goklowski, do we have a staff report?
Yes. We do have a staff report that Olivia was very kind to draft up. Overviewing some of the past permits that were issued, as Commissioner Golkowski alluded to. Erosion controls to the rear of the lot. No stormwater management is proposed. It is replacement of pretty much an existing condition for the most part. They are proposing removal of a stump and replacing with a row of arborvitae to the rear of the lot. Again, we're proposing initial erosion control inspection, planting inspection, final inspection, standard conditions, and general provisions of all permits.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Jamie, the plantings were part of their plan, not part of any condition that we wanted to see, or is that not true?
That was applicant proposed in their project narrative.
Yep. Is Commissioner Basserman, any concerns from the commission on this replacement? If anybody would like to make a motion on inland wetland 26-31.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I'll make a motion that the commission approves inland wetlands IW 26-31, 26 North Main Street, Unit 7, manufactured home, through our normal, with all the terms and conditions set forth in the staff report and any other normal conditions that we normally approve this type of application for.
There a second on that motion?
This is Commissioner Murski. I'll second that motion.
Any additional comments or modifications to the motion? Okay, the seated commissioners will vote. Commissioner Golkowski?
Commissioner Goklowski, aye.
Commissioner Armstrong? Pardon me. No. Commissioner Wall?
Commissioner Wall, aye.
Wait. Commissioner Wall's not seated.
Armstrong was right.
Oh, that's right. Commissioner Armstrong?
You're muted.
A thumbs up would be good, Howard. All right. Commissioner Boda?
Commissioner Boda, aye.
Commissioner Sotomayor?
Commissioner Sotomayor, aye.
Commissioner Begeman?
Commissioner Begman, aye.
Commissioner Bursky?
Commissioner Murski, aye.
Commissioner Basserman, aye. Okay. Inland wetland 26-34, 39 Brockett's Point Road, driveway improvements and repair of existing seawall. Do we have somebody for this?
Yes, yes, can you hear me?
Certainly.
Yes, Dan Coughlin, representing 39 Brockett's Point Road. As you can see from the application, we put in, we wanted to do some, the seawall is deteriorating, undermining, which if you look at what I submitted, and when I remodeled the house in 21, I submitted a planting drawing. And the reason it hasn't been done or got approved was I had to get down and do something with the seawall before it falls in or caves in. It's the small part of the wall on the right side looking at from the driveway. The question is, I've hired.
Mr. Coughlin, I just want to pause you for a second. This is Commissioner Boda. Can we all be looking at the same thing? Maybe.
I don't.
Jamie or somebody, can you pull up and?
Yeah, Jamie Frederick and Wetland Agent. I am looking to pull up the documents now. I'm realizing there were not everything in the planning and zoning file was submitted for the wetland file.
There's something dated August 21st.
21.
Yeah, so I'll start off with a quick Google, or not Google, aerial image of the property, and then I'll switch over to the site plan. All right. All right, is everyone seeing an aerial image?
Still loading. There you go.
Okay. So down here we have Long Island Sound. This is the subject property. There are some walls on the coastal side of the property, and there's another wall where this wall wraps around, and there is a water course along this western property boundary that outlets to Long Island Sound. The water course has been manipulated over time and is definitely part of the drainage system in the area. However, it is an open channel through this area. So that would be the inland wetland inland water course resource. Obviously, Long Island Sound would be title jurisdiction, not within the Inland Wetlands Commission's jurisdiction. So that said,
This is Commissioner Bassman. Jamie, where is that demarcation point along that water course?
demarcation point of inland versus tidal along
Yes.
the water course. I would say it's at the mouth of the water course. So I don't think we really have any pictures submitted. I did request that the applicant submit some pictures, but I don't think that has happened yet. But the water course essentially discharges to Long Island Sound.
And this is Commissioner Boda. It's in our jurisdiction because it's drainage and therefore fresh. It's not tidally influenced.
Correct. So a handful of years ago, the Inland Wetland Commission did take up inland wetland permit for some activity, essentially looking to redo the lawn and modify some of the site. There was talk about some plantings over along the water course. The planting plan was not approved at that time because it does include Rosa rugosa, which is an invasive plant. So we definitely don't want to see that being intentionally planted. So I have indicated that we would want to see an updated planting plan with natives, or at the very least with non-invasive plants. As far as the replacement of the wall along Long Island Sound, I don't know that there's too much that would fall within the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency's jurisdiction. That would be reviewed by Planning and Zoning and DEEP, to whatever extent DEEP wanted to comment on it. However, this wall is right above that watercourse I was mentioning. So I certainly think that the commission would be interested in how that activity was proposed to occur, and how the water course would be protected during that activity.
This is Commissioner Goklowski. Jamie, does P&Z and DEEP take in consideration that the seawall that they're looking to repair or replace is actually going to be is also part of our watercourse inland wetlands?
Jamie Frederick in the Wetland Agent. Yeah, I would say that to some extent would be a consideration, especially from the planning and zoning standpoint, because they do regulate activities within an area of tidal and inland wetlands. I do want to comment, I don't know that I would necessarily call it a seawall. The wall is located above the coastal jurisdiction line, and it's typically above mean high water, so it would only be during storm events that Long Island Sound would reach the wall. So at this point, I would say the commission would typically want an updated planting plan and probably some more details on how this wall is going to be replaced, rather than a simple call out that it's to be removed. Although it does say remove wall, it doesn't say replace wall. Could the applicant clarify whether you're proposing to remove the wall and replace it? That was my understanding, but I may have misinterpreted.
Yes, there's the biggest problem I'm having is I hired a civil engineer to give me an official drawing where the CJL was and everything like that. I've talked to a structural engineer and he's having trouble to get into this with all the invasive plantings. You got to climb down and walk over the rocks to see it. And I've hired a landscape architect, and I will submit plans for landscaping, and I have a structural engineer, and I'm gonna do a plan to see what I'm gonna do with this wall. 5 feet of this wall is above grade, which is useless as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't built properly. And the footing, the last 5 feet down, is just undermining. It's either got to be completely replaced or just whatever. So I will have drawings on that. I mean, what I would ask for, and I don't know if, you know, originally when we did a planting, we proposed some sill fencing and erosion control. I'd like to go in there and clear it and put up erosion control and sill fencing, and then have, you know, then I can get my structural engineer there, I can get the landscape architect there, and see what we come up with. To answer your question on the wall, some of it's going to come down, and if I can replace what's left there, depending on topo and grade, which I'll do, I'll see what, you know, eventually plan on entering the water, you know, so whatever that means, and they suggest, I'll follow their advice on that. So if I could, or whatever the formality is, to clear what's there out, put up sill fencing and erosion control, so I can get to the next steps, which is a full set of plans.
This is Commissioner Basserman. Jamie, don't we need an application to do step one as just articulated by Mr. Coughlin?
Well, Jamie Frederick and the Willing Agent. Yeah, so I mean, if you're looking to do the project phased, then I would say you would need phased applications. I do know that there is some knotweed out there. I have not been out to the site since the last application a handful of years ago, which is probably slightly more than a handful of years ago at this point. So, I mean, invasive species removal could theoretically be a jurisdictional ruling if it is cutting. I don't know if the commission wants to weigh in on that. And I don't know to what extent it's invasive species versus unmanaged vegetation. But I do recall there was some knotweed out there.
This is Commissioner Bassman. I don't think there's enough detail to be able to make a call this evening, you know, and I think we need something that we can, you know, discuss, get our hands around. Sounds like there's quite a bit of work to be done. How much is going to be done in phase one versus phase two? I don't think, especially at 9:15, you know, we want to start designing this thing here.
Yeah. Jamie Frederick and the Wetland Agent. I mean, I'd be happy to meet with the property owner out there to discuss next steps if you would find that helpful. But we're definitely going to need details on what is being proposed in order for the commission to be able to act on this application. Is the commission comfortable with me meeting with the applicant, and if there are invasive species, identifying that those can be cut for the purposes of investigatory research?
This is Commissioner Goklowski. I was going to suggest that if you are going to be meeting with the applicant, and it is invasive species, species, we have to start somewhere. And if he wants to start, so we can do it. You can't go in there if it's covered. You got to start clearing it out so you can see what's got to be done. So I don't have a problem with you doing this, doing a check and, giving him some parameters to take care of the invasive species, and then we can move to step 2.
This is Commissioner Baskerman, is there general agreement on the commission that that's a good first step?
Yes.
All right. I guess that's a work to do. All right, next up, let's see, E is withdrawn. F, inland wetland 2626, 40 Midwood. We're talking about the test pits and the percolation tests. We have a public hearing scheduled for September 10th on that. Application for receipt. You got a agent approval. Did you want to talk about this or not, Jamie?
I don't think we need to talk about it unless commissioners have looked at it and have any questions.
Okay. Anything in correspondence or any other business that we need to chat about? Hearing nothing, how about a motion to approve, adjourn?
Commissioner Boda, motion to adjourn?
That's good. Is there a second?
Commissioner Begemon, seconds.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, all.
Thank you, everyone.
Want to take a vote?
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.